Hi, this is Gary Kayye. We're here at InfoComm 2023, and I'm here with Shane Vega, who is the Vice President of Marketing for Userful. And you should know who Userful is. If you don't know who they are, you're about to find out, and you need to know them because they're in the segment of the market that's the biggest growth and emerging segment of the market. Tell them who Userful is.
Absolutely. So Userful is actually a software manufacturer for the AV over IP market. We've been doing this for several years, obviously. And we are proud to be here at InfoComm 23 to be unveiling our latest platform called Infinity.
And so when you say you're a software manufacturer in AV over IP, does that mean that you can use anyone's hardware with your software will drive anyone's AV over IP software and unify it?
Yeah, so it actually is a little bit more comprehensive than that. So when we say we're a software-defined platform, we're actually an IT solution. And I want to set that precedent down because it is a little bit different than what you guys are typically seeing here on the show floor. So for Userful, it's a server, non-proprietary. So Dell, HP, Lenovo, Supermicro, for us, it doesn't matter, we'll give you the specification. On the other side is nothing more than our uClient application. It's also a software piece. In between, network infrastructure. So when we say AV over IP, we look at it through the lens of what I would like to call true AV over IP. We're not requiring a lot of those proprietary hardware.
Proprietary encoders and decoders. You're starting with the content that resides on the PC in the first place.
Absolutely. We aggregate all of that content into a central database, and then we give you the power to visualize that content anywhere that you want, tearing down the traditional silos that are created by individual pieces of software hardware.
So if I'm an integrator in the AV world, how do I engage with you and sort of like, where do I, am I selling a system a whole different way? Am I able to adapt it to the current customers that I have and the systems that I currently have, or how am I changing the way that I sell a system?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to back up a second, this is literally the industry's first software-defined platform in the AV over IP space. And so to that extent, we want to partner with with the channel very closely. We want to make sure that we come up alongside them to enable them to understand how we're utilizing this IT infrastructure and protocols to deploy the system and software and to give them that commissioning support that they're going to need. One of the relevant things that I like to make sure that we educate our audience with is that this isn't just Userful saying that, hey, they're first in the industry and this is what's leading, this is what's trending. You can take a look at Gartner. Right? Gartner has said in its most recent report of the 10 emerging, 10 emerging technologies or I forget how they call it.
Ways of building AV systems?
Right, yeah, so it's their 10 emerging trends, for the AV over IP market. 2 of them happen to be around the idea of, platform deployments and what they call super applications or super apps. Okay. And this is exactly what Userful is doing. We are a platform, and if you look at the screen, we're managing 6 different AV applications and empowering those organizations to make use of that entire ecosystem or suite of applications.
And so basically what we're seeing here is multi-windowing, and you're doing this all through the network.
Yeah, absolutely. So we can do multi-windowing, we can do point-for-point content to single screen, we can do piece of content to multiple screens. And because of the way that we've developed our software and developed the way that we deploy from an architectural perspective, we support private cloud deployments from the data center, right, where you can have a single beefy server managing all of your AV applications within your organization or your enterprise. Makes it really easy to scale, and it also gives your IT department that ability to manage everything centrally. The other thing that you'll notice is that we don't require any software downloads. Everything is accessible through a web URL. So you plug in the IP address of your server, it gives you access, provided you've got those credentials, and you're good to go.
And is it only Windows-based, or what are the different platforms that you support?
So from the server side, we are a Linux organization on the server front. From a source aggregation, we support it all. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. So your source could reside on any device at all, and you're just going to ingest it into your platform.
Yeah, 100%. And one of the added benefits of that is that because of the way that we ingest sources, we actually encourage folks to take advantage of the IT protocols that exist and use HDMI or DisplayPort encoding as a last resort. We'll pull those sources in any number of ways off the network using WebRTC or using VNC, RDP, get those content sources aggregated into our system, and then allow you to distribute that however you want.
But you heard what he said. If you do have sources that are not IP capable, then you can ingest them through a USB-C or even HDMI directly. So ultimately, this can live on-prem or off-prem, right? I mean, you said it's cloud-based, so therefore I can use this inside my facility or outside. Tell me about the security issues that I need to be worried about and how this affects sort of the other data that's on the network? And do I do it as a separate AVN, or do I do it on the existing network?
So sure, security is number one of priority anywhere you look. And so we're able to manage security a number of different ways. So when we're thinking about network topology, we can traverse multiple networks. If you think about DoD environments or certain critical infrastructure environments where they've got corporate networks, control networks, we can work with that and ensure that we're still able to get those content to the necessary places. When you think about overall security, okay, I like to oversimplify it by saying this. When something is going to be hacked, or when you have extreme amounts of liability, it resides in a box, right? If you start to increase the number and the amount of boxes on your network, encoders, decoders, video wall processors,
That's going to create holes.
Inherent risk, right? By becoming a software solution and by saying, hey, look, the one box that you do have to put on your network is that server, and by the way, you can buy it yourself. Make sure that you lock it down. Make sure that it's compliant with your existing security protocols. We are inherently more secure than any other solution in the market, right? So that's how I answer that question. Now, if you want more information on that, I'm happy to give you our 40-some-odd page document on security.
Well, that's good to know. You have a white paper on it, because that's the first thing that people are going to ask.
Yeah,
so do you recommend that this reside on the existing network, or do you put a separate AVN together in a typical install?
Yes.
Either one.
Yeah, right. It's going to depend on the use case. Okay. Some folks want to take advantage of existing network infrastructure and reduce some of that. And because we have a very efficient way for the way that we manage encoded and decoded signals, we can reduce the amount of bandwidth on that network. Now, if you have security risks or security concerns, then we can begin to decentralize. We can do other things.
All right. So it's userful.com, userful.com. And you should check them out, because what he's saying is true. This is the future of the way that signals are going to be routed and distributed all the way through as original content, kept as a file and played as a file. And I think what you're saying is kind of interesting in that once it's on the web, or once it's on a web page, you just basically type in the IP address, or you address it through the IP address, and now we get the source wherever we want it to go. And that would mean that if I'm dealing with an 8K display, or I'm dealing with a desktop display, I'm able to see the same source either way.
100%. So we manage all of that. Sorry.
We're in a trade show. That's going to happen.
It's all good. So we manage the scaling of the content. We manage the resolution and how it's going to be shown, regardless. To your point, 8K display, your desktop display, it doesn't matter to us. And again, from a security perspective, and like you had mentioned before, the ease of use, we're managing all that content in our own data store, right? And we can actually operate even in an air-gapped, closed network where there is no internet connection, and still give you the full functionality of our whole suite.
Is that how most government installations are, where they actually don't have any kind of a connection to the outside world?
Right, it's not just government entities, but there's certain, like if you think about cybersecurity, if you think about energy and utility, if you think about a lot of these, they want air-gapped environments where they can say, hey, I want to make sure this is secure and it's not going to touch my outside networks. We can operate in that capacity as well.
All right, check it out at userful.com, userful.com. Shane, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thanks for explaining all this to me. And get more information, go to userful.com. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day.